Update regarding Roman Reigns' match at Clash at the Castle after WWE Superstar's shocking return. The best and worst of Raw. WWE Raw. Legitimate car crash. Rhea Ripley breaks silence after attacking WWE legend's son on Raw. Major issue in Karrion Kross WWE return. Let's jump right into our first story. The best and worst of Raw. So far, almost every episode of Raw and SmackDown under the Triple H creative era has delivered and more. What we're loving is the fact that there are so many returns and hooks to end the show, and that will ensure that many will tune in next week as well. This week's Raw was no different and was an incredible episode from start to finish. It certainly wasn't perfect, but it was amazing as a whole. A shout out to the small backstage transition moment featuring AJ Styles and Bayley's faction that looked so effortless yet realistic. It's an exciting time for WWE fans, and Raw has been the better show without even a world title in it. We're excited to see how things will play out. Here are the ups and downs of an incredible episode on Monday Night Raw. Number 3. Best, the US title match on Raw. It's hard to debate which of the two big matches was the match of the night. However, due to the high stakes and anticipation, we're going to say Bobby Lashley vs. Ciampa was the match of the night. Bobby Lashley had yet another epic United States title defense as his connection with the WWE Universe pushed him into retaining despite several obstacles. Ciampa may have lost the match, but he will get pushed, and this was simply WWE's way of testing the waters. Number 2. Worst, making Dominic Mysterio look bad week after week. Dominic Mysterio is arguably one of the worst-handled superstars on the WWE roster. We will acknowledge the fact that he has a long way to go in terms of improvement, but he is constantly made to look weak. This week, it started with him shoving Edge away and refusing to apologize for the accidental spear the previous week, which ended with him getting humiliated by Rhea Ripley, resulting in Rey Mysterio's loss to Finn Balor. Number 2. Best, Kevin Owens' character modification. We all wondered what Triple H was planning to do with Kevin Owens, and we have an answer for now. Owens faced Ezekiel and brutalized him, resulting in the latter being sent to a local medical facility. In a backstage interview, Owens made it clear that this is still the Kevin Owens show, hinting at a character change and the return to his old persona. Number 1. Worst, the random team pairings for the Women's Tag Team Title Tournament. The Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament returned, and the crowd went mild. When assessing competitors for the tournament, very few pairings make sense. Asuka and Alexa Bliss are random, but they have been associated recently, so there is some sense to it. Same with Doudrop and Nikki Ash. However, on the SmackDown side, the pairings are extremely random and put together with zero thought. We can only hope that this tournament is being set up for Io Sky and Dakota Kai to win and become the Women's Tag Team Champion. Number 1. Best, a solid main event. When it was announced that Raw would be headlined by AJ Styles vs. The Miz, we were admittedly skeptical. However, the no disqualification stipulation certainly helped, and the match itself was incredible. They received this as awesome chance in the main event of Raw as the two veterans went at it, with Styles eventually coming out as the victor. It was also a good transition as the returning Dexter Lumis was spotted being pulled away by the cops. There was a hook and intrigue in the ending, as an incredible main event on Raw transitioned into an interesting and mysterious angle. Rhea Ripley breaks silence after attacking WWE legend's son on Raw. After Monday Night Raw, Rhea Ripley took to Twitter to break her silence after attacking Dominic Mysterio on this week's show. During Rey Mysterio's match against Finn Balor, the latter's Judgment Day stablemate walked out carrying Dominic on her back. The distraction led to a big win for the former Universal Champion. Taking to Twitter, Ripley took further shots at Dominic, as she posted the following tweets: Rhea's pappy. Over the last few weeks, Judgment Day has been feuding with the Mysterios. Edge also made his return to WWE programming, setting his sights on his former stablemates who booted him out of Judgment Day. Priest and Edge are expected to square off against each other on the August 22nd episode of Monday Night Raw. Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley played a crucial role in recruiting Finn Balor into the Judgment Day and replacing Edge with the former Universal Champion. The trio finally seems to have found its rhythm as a faction, courtesy of their backstage relationship with one another. Speaking to Metro in a recent interview, Priest revealed what it was like for him to work alongside the two WWE stars. He said, "The Judgment Day. With Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley, it's easy when you get to work with your friends and people that you just adore and get along with." The group was initially formed after Priest assisted Edge in his win over AJ Styles at WrestleMania 38. Shortly afterward, Ripley also joined forces with the faction in the same manner. WWE Raw, legitimate car crash. This week's episode of WWE Raw was unpredictable, with no one sure what was going to happen next. This included a seemingly real car crash that took place behind a Kevin Owens promo. Triple H took over as the head of creative from Vince McMahon after the latter's retirement. Since then, with a plethora of returns and innovative booking, WWE's shows have left fans wondering what's next. The trend continued this week with several segments where fans were left questioning what they saw. Fans were startled to see a car crash into a crate in the background of a Kevin Owens promo. There were multiple people around the car, including Nikki Ash, Doudrop, another unidentified wrestler, multiple staff, and one person who looked like a policeman. It was seen as a legitimate car crash and was not mentioned by the commentary team. However, what followed later in the night led to fans questioning whether, in fact, the car crash was a real one. In a similar incident to the crash, police were seen running around soon after, behind a promo where Bayley and Asuka were confronting each other on Raw. The focus was on them and not the police personnel. Finally, later in the night, after the main event between The Miz and AJ Styles, former NXT star Dexter Lumis was spotted being taken away through the crowd. Whether or not the three incidents are connected in one long storyline is currently unknown. The car crash could still be a real occurrence separate from anything on the show. Do you think Dexter Lumis had anything to do with the car crash on WWE Raw? Let us know in the comments below. Major issue in Karrion Kross WWE return. WWE legends Mark Henry and Bully Ray felt that there was one thing missing from Karrion Kross' return: his entrance. Kross had an iconic entrance during his first run in WWE, where he and his partner Scarlett Bordeaux arrived to the ring through darkness and fog, accompanied by chilling music. That entrance was scrapped when the former NXT champion moved to the main roster, while Scarlett also did not accompany him to the ring. On the Busted Open podcast, multi-time tag team champion Bully Ray said that he missed watching Kross and Scarlett's entrance from NXT when they returned to SmackDown last week. I loved seeing him and Scarlett on SmackDown the other night. I will say this, I didn't love the fact that he jumped Drew without his entire entrance. I would have loved, I think me and you share the same brain here. Mark, wouldn't have been great to see his entire entrance? Asked Bully Ray. Henry responded by saying that the entrance was the only thing missing from the former NXT star's return. I mean, Scarlett between the legs, the smoke, everything. That's the only thing that I missed. If I'd had that, oh man, you could have given me a cigar and I'm going outside and I'm going to get some airtime. I love it, said Mark Henry. Kross interference in the Roman Reigns-Drew McIntyre feud on SmackDown indicates that he will be pushed right to the top on the blue brand. According to PW Insider, the former NXT champion is reportedly the number 2 heel on SmackDown behind Roman Reigns. They are also seemingly listed on the SmackDown roster going forward. Another report stated that there were plans to put Kross in a feud with Reigns for one of the Tribal Chiefs titles. The report from Fightful says that the USA Network, which airs Raw, wants a top title to be featured on the show as Roman Reigns hardly appears on the red brand. The undisputed WWE Universal Champion is currently set to face off against Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle on September 3rd. However, after what went down on the latest episode of SmackDown, the two men will seemingly have one eye on Karrion Kross and what he will do next. Do you think Karrion Kross will be involved in the McIntyre vs. Reigns match at Clash at the Castle? Let us know in the comments down below. Update regarding Roman Reigns' match at Clash at the Castle after WWE Superstar's shocking return. Recent reports have suggested that Roman Reigns vs. Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle will remain a singles match despite the recent return of Karrion Kross. Last Friday night, the former NXT champion made his shocking return to WWE as he blindsided the number 1 contender Drew McIntyre, whilst the Scotsman was staring down Reigns. Despite his involvement with both Drew and Roman, Dave Meltzer has reported on the recent edition of Wrestling Observer Radio that Karrion Kross will not be added to the main event at Clash at the Castle. For Cardiff, it is still Roman and Drew. I was told, of course this can always change, but I was told that it's really not going to change. They feel that has to be the match. So as far as when gets his shot at Roman Reigns, because obviously they're building to that, I have no idea when that will be. In what was an intriguing episode of SmackDown, fans are anticipating this Friday's episode in the hopes of finding out why Kross attacked Drew McIntyre. In a match that is expected to be one of the biggest and best of the year, many are struggling to predict who will come out on top between the Scottish Warrior and the Tribal Chief. During a recent interview with Sportskeeda Wrestling, NXT UK star Wild Boar gave his thoughts on the huge matchup. I'd like the UK boy to take it on home soil, but Roman Reigns is killing it right now, isn't he? That match against Brock Lesnar was absolutely outstanding. So again, I can't wait to watch it. Like I said, I want the UK boy to win it. But Roman Reigns is the man, ain't he? Roman and Drew are set to face off on September 3rd in Cardiff, Wales, at Clash at the Castle with the undisputed WWE Universal Championship on the line. Who do you see leaving Clash at the Castle as the undisputed champion? Let us know in the poll below.
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know